Captain America: Civil War was released a month ago and has already crossed the $1 billion mark, a milestone that three of the most popular superheroes in the world could not achieve. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has accumulated over $10 billion over the course of 8 years and 13 movies. How does Marvel Studios keep doing it right? Because it seems like whenever the characters and stories are placed into different hands, it goes completely off the rails. Don't get me wrong, there's been some good ones from other studios. However, there's something about MCU movies that even when they're underwhelming, they're still extremely entertaining, enjoyable, and well-paced. I think the number one reason is just how character-focused these movies are. So let me explain the difference between a character-driven movie and a plot-driven movie. A character-driven movie is where the entire movie hinges on the way a character acts, feels, and evolves. Without this character, the movie would not exist in the way that it does. Other than the Marvel movies, this is like Lars and the Real Girl, or Nightcrawler, or 500 Days of Summer. Plot-driven movies are when something happens and the characters respond to that situation. If you replace or remove the characters from the story, the movie could still exist. For example, this is like Jaws, or The Day After Tomorrow, or The Terminator. Marvel has a great mix of both, but I would say that they are primarily character-driven. Basically, you can't get these characters and replace them with anyone else and have the same movie. For example, if Thor was an arrogant, war-mongering prick in the beginning of the first Thor movie, then the movie would literally end in like 10 minutes. Marvel also has fantastic character arc consistency with all 13 of their movies. This can probably be seen best in one of my personal favorites, Captain America. So in the first movie, he's just a guy that believes in America and everything that he's fighting for and stuff like that. He's taken in by the government and they buff him up. After he basically gives his life for what he believes in, he wakes up 75 years later. S.H.I.E.L.D. is now the one providing him with things to do, so he kind of makes the assumption that S.H.I.E.L.D. is just another government to report to. Until, that is, the movie Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He came from a different era, so when he sees modern surveillance and paranoia, he immediately reacts against it.
This isn't freedom. This is fear.
S.H.I.E.L.D. takes the world as it is, not as we'd like it to be. And it's getting damn near past time for you to get with that program, Cap.
My favorite part about him is that when he thinks he's right, he will stand by that, period. After he finds out Hydra has taken over S.H.I.E.L.D., all of his faith that's been built up for big government and corporations are gone, which directly influences the way he acts in Civil War.
No, but it's run by people with agendas, and agendas change.
And finally, I love how Marvel can distill all these characters into these small, really memorable moments that reflect who these people are.
This drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
The metaphors are gonna go over his head.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast.
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
And what do you say to your other nickname, the Merchant of Death?
That's not bad.
The next thing I really love about Marvel movies is the incredibly high bar they've set for action scenes. These scenes rival those of movies that are solely focused on action. One of my favorite action series is The Raid. It has fantastic hand-to-hand combat, and during the press tour of The Winter Soldier, they constantly name-dropped the fact that they took influence from those films. You can easily see it in the fight scenes for Winter Soldier. It may not be filmed or edited as well, but it still maintains that brutal physicality of The Raid. However, most Marvel movies don't fall into the trap of having action scenes for the sake of having an action scene. It always drives either the characters or story forward in some way, shape, or form. For example, after an entire movie of the entire team arguing and fighting together, they finally band together and become the Avengers. It's the conclusion of all the character arcs that have been running through Phase 1, distilled into a single 1-minute shot that still gives me goosebumps. And finally, the action scenes are always pretty creative. There's the standard fighting and punching and kicking, but adding in the superpowers and the very distinct situations makes for really fun and exciting sequences. Like in Iron Man 3, where we get to see all the unique aspects of every single suit of armor while Tony Stark jumps in and out of suits. Or in Thor: The Dark World, when random portals pop in and out and they just have to roll with the punches. And one of my personal favorites, when two superpowered people get stuck in a suitcase. And finally, the way that Marvel does fan service is usually really subtle and clever. Some movies are very intrusive with its references, but in the MCU, it's a fun Easter egg for the dedicated. Like, when Captain America is on his tour to sell war bonds, he's using the original Captain America shield. Same with Tony Stark when he battles his way out of the cave. Marvel also has tremendous respect for the material. Other studios will just throw things away willy-nilly, like in Batman vs Superman, where they kill a beloved DC character as an Easter egg. Marvel, on the other hand, treats the introductions of their on-screen characters with incredible importance. Like, in the Hulkbuster and Hulk fight, the way they film and edit together the introduction of the Hulkbuster is with such reverence. It's the same for the Avengers movies. When they showcase the entire team, it shows the audience just how important these characters are to them. And the Marvel Cinematic Universe does not look like it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Marvel's planned out the entirety of Phase 3 already, and their new Netflix series is also well on its way, with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist getting character-focused stories and amazing movie-quality action sequences. Who knows what's going to happen after the Infinity War, but I won't think about it too much. I'll just enjoy the ride. Thanks for watching.
Fine. I'll do it myself.